Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mike Armstrong Podcast Show. This afternoon, I'm joined by James Morgan from Melyn Media, who I have met, actually met in a previous work incarnation a long time ago, but more recently bumped into him again at Intrabiz events, and just going to have a chat with him about his business and life in general. How are you doing this afternoon, James? You okay?
Fantastic, Mike. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm very well, very well. Always good as usual.
Good.
Good. So before we get into sort of your business and where your background and where you come from, etc., tell me a little bit about how the lockdown period has been for you.
That's a really good question. It's been a bit all over the place, truth be told. Obviously, we've had the same sort of pressing issues as everybody else, especially given what we do. It's hard to create videos for clients by not being in the same room as them. So that's been interesting. So we've been doing lots of different things to sort of make it cope and what have you. Got two small children. They are 3 and 6, Zach and Belle. So that's been a challenge, bit of homeschooling, but also keeping them entertained as well. I'm sure you can appreciate that. And a lot of people who's listening to this can appreciate that when you're running a business from home and you've got 2 small children and there's literally nowhere for you to go, it can be quite interesting, should we say, very politely. So that's kind of been the life at the moment.
Okay, good. So you've been daddy daycare and teacher and a video producer all at the same time, or an editor, you know?
The daddy daycare is what they've been calling me. So, have you got daddy daycare? That's funny you say that.
That's good. So obviously, Melyn Media predominantly do video and video production, that sort of stuff. What led you to becoming a video producer and an editor and that sort of thing?
It goes back a very long time. So I'm an actor. I began acting when I was 10. So I've always been in this type of industry, and it's something I love. I love creating. I think it's inherent in me being a creative. Sorry, just turn my phone off, Michael.
That's all right. When you're daddy daycare and your teacher and your podcasting and all the rest of it, you know, sometimes these things happen.
It's actually a client, so but I'll call them straight back when we finish because you know it's all good. You're important, Mike. So through my sort of life, I've always, in some kind of incarnation, worked in the industry. I've always been told I've got a good eye, and I just kind of riffed on that really and took it one step further. But interestingly, you referred earlier that we met each other in a previous life. So in that previous life, I don't know if you remember, Mike, but we met in a networking event in Jamaican Jills in Swansea, and we were talking about our shared history in terms of our previous employer. And having a chat with you sort of gave me a kick up the bum to get out there and just say, you know what, do something for myself. Stop giving 100% of myself to other people and give 100% of myself to myself. So that's basically how Melyn Media was born.
Brilliant. And I love to hear things like that because obviously, to me, you know, life's about being in control of your own destiny. And if I can inspire somebody, anyone, to take control of their own destiny and actually be the captain of their own ship, then, you know, I'm glad I've done my job, really. So I'm glad, you know, you have told me that story before. And, you know, I couldn't actually remember it because for me, you know, I was just networking, doing what I do all of the time. But for you, there was something in what we talked about that just resonated. It just hit home.
Yeah, I think it kind of gave me, you know, the universe puts out signs. I'm a firm believer of that. You know, people call it hocus pocus, whatever, you know, each their own stuff. But I just took that as a sign of many different signs that were happening around that time, pointing me in this direction. Don't get me wrong, and you know, again, as you and a lot of people can appreciate, it's not easy. There's been some very tough times. I mean, if I had hair, it probably would have fallen out. There's been moments where I'm questioning why, and I wanted to pack it all in. But ultimately, I've dug deep and just kept fighting and pushing forward. So.
And that's what you've got to do at the end of the day. It's tough to make it. It's tough to make it in a business because 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. 90% of the ones that survive then fail in the next 5 years. So it is tough. It's a battle. But ultimately,
by your time, we'll be fine.
Yeah, but if you're working for someone else to battle as well, yeah, they have all the pressure and the stress, but you still got your own. We were both in sales, if you like, and sales is pressure and stress. And why deal with all that pressure and stress and build someone else's future and someone else's business when you can actually deal with the same level of pressure and stress and actually build your own business and build your own future? So that's my
So
mindset anyway. That's why I'm an entrepreneur and why I
the way
deal with entrepreneurs.
I've always likened that is that why fund somebody else's dream and ambition with your talent and time when you can actually fund your own dreams and ambitions with your talent and time?
That's right. Yeah.
And I've said that to a lot of actors who would work for free, because there's a lot of productions going on, and I know a lot of people who seem to be working a hell of a lot, but they don't get paid. And there's nothing wrong with doing the odd unpaid project, especially if it really speaks to you and it's going to help someone and it's going to really help you. And that's fine. I'm all for that. But you got some people that take the mickey essentially and just don't pay people. And all they're doing is funding someone else's dream with their talent. And that just, for me, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, I think you should always be the man at the top, and then at least if you decide to do something for free, I do lots of things for free as well, but I believe the universe will give back anyway. So, and also I believe in building relationships. So sometimes people can't afford what they need. And rather than tell them to go away, come back to me when you got more money, I'd rather give them what they need and find a way of harvesting it down the line.
And that's the way I approached things when I started, and I still do things like that as well. I'm always put an extra hours in doing this, doing that, because ultimately I am a people pleaser, and I think when you are a creative, you want to be seen to be in the top of your game and creating something that's nice and that works for everyone. But I guess what my sort of point was making, not so much on the odd chance or off chance, but it's like constant when people keep coming to you.
Yeah, when people are too nice and they can't say no and they get abused a bit and taken advantage of,
Absolutely. And I see it all the time. And I guess it's more referring to the acting side of things, where you just see people, again, that phrase of funding somebody else's dream with their talent, especially when you see them paying for other things but not paying the talent.
Yeah.
I always question that.
Yeah. But. Yeah, definitely, and that's why people, if they're in that trap, some people just love acting, for example, or love whatever it may be, and so they want to do it. But sometimes they're frightened of putting on their own production or doing their own performance or whatever. And I'm big into personal development and confidence, self-belief, and that sort of thing. And what I would say to those people is they just need to grow a set of balls, if you like, take some risk, and actually be in charge of their own destiny, because that's the only way that they can, one, do what they love, but two, make money from doing it too, and actually turn it into a business and not just a bit of fun.
Yeah, I mean, life is, there is space for people who want to do it just as fun. I'm not knocking that, don't get me wrong. But you're right, I think life is all about taking risks. Otherwise, how boring would it be?
Yeah, exactly. That's the entrepreneurial spirit.
From a couple of risk takers.
If you don't give it a go, how do you know where it would have got? So, first point of action is taking the first step.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously, we had that chat, and we've known each other through networking since you went self-employed and started your own business. What are the sort of the best tips you got really for video production and creating and that sort of stuff that maybe are reasons why your clients should get in touch with you?
Now that's a good question, because I'm learning every single day. And one thing I've really sort of learned now from a creative side of things, because there's other things I've learned obviously, but from a creative side of things, always planning. Make sure that there's a shot list, and make sure your clients can visualize the video before you've actually picked up a camera. So really should have show it to them, explain it to them, and you're hitting the brief. That way then, if the brief does change, you're covered, because you can say, look, this is what we agreed on, effectively. There's been instances where I've filmed some fantastic footage, and 2 days later, after the footage has come back and it's all uploaded, ready to edit and catalogued, the client's changed the brief, and it's like, well, I haven't actually got shots for that because that wasn't the brief that day. So it's just, I guess, being clear and coherent, coming from me, to ensure that you've got the same end goal. So that's really important. Plus, you haven't got to as a creative, you want to do things all bells and whistles. You want to give some amazing sort of transitions, some lens flares, some really funky, lovely panning, you want to do some really lovely, beautiful shots. But actually, it doesn't always call for that. I'm editing something right now, which is just a white screen with writing on, which is really effective. And it's not something I would usually think I would be doing. So there's that as well. It's leaving your ego at the door. Don't have an ego just because you think that you want it to look this way and it's going to look really amazing and fantastic. It's not always what the client wants. Simple is usually best.
Yeah, that's actually something I find some creatives who aren't so entrepreneurial, aren't so commercial, aren't so, client focused, if you like. They sometimes get a brief but go off and do their own thing because that's the best creative that they can be in that situation. But sometimes the client wants something a little bit different, and so sometimes you can have that gap between a customer wanting something specific and a client and a creative creating something that he thinks the customer wants rather than what the customer actually wants.
Yeah, and it's actually quite hard then to make those two things meet.
Yeah,
because there's a void in the middle somewhere. And acting isn't acting. Creativity. I always refer back to acting, but creativity sometimes isn't everything that you want it to be. Sometimes you've got to find another outlet, and that's okay. Do the thing for your client, but if you see something nice in the day, take that shot anyway and put something together for yourself.
Yeah.
It's finding ways and means to keep yourself satisfied.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we talked about some top tips and that sort of thing. Why would somebody choose Melyn Media over another video production company in the marketplace right now? What makes you unique and stand out?
I think for me, people buy people, right? I get told a lot that people buy into me, and I'm useless at talking about myself, and I'm useless at bigging myself up. That's something I need to get better at, and I think we've talked about this before off this mic. I'm crap at shouting my own sort of praises. But I think ultimately it's the connection. You get a different connection with me. When people work with me, we are quite connected. We generally stay friends after and end up having beers together at some point. There is some kind of connection, so you're getting more than just a video. You're getting a really good contact and human connection. So that's different. Don't get me wrong, my work's pretty damn good. People seem to love it. And I always get good feedback on my work, but plus not only that as well, I am malleable. So I am happy to sit there. I'm happy to sit there and get it right for a client so that their vision is complete. So I've done multiple edits for a client before. I need to go back to the first edit, but that's okay because sometimes you've got to explore to get the best message out. So there's that. Our prices are obviously very good. And we can have good turnaround times as well if it calls for it. I mean, there's been an instance whereby I finished filming 2:00 in the morning for the launch of one of my clients, LBS, Land Isle Building Supplies. Great company to work with. They're lovely people. But they had a roadshow last year, and I had to film the setup of the roadshow to then create a video straight after to go out the next morning at 9:00 to advertise to bring more people to the roadshow. So I can turn things around quite quickly. I'm happy to do that. Happy to put in the extra hours. So it's that. I'm not a 9-to-5er like a lot of other people are.
Yeah, that's good. And what sort of clients do you tend to produce videos for at the moment? Obviously, you mentioned the road show, and I know you do interviews and other networking events and that sort of thing. But what other clients do it for?
It's interesting, really, because it is very varied. Because everybody can utilize video, right? That's just where we are now. 82% of all online content by next year will be video. That's 82% of all content. Pictures, written word, which is bonkers. So any company can utilize video. So we've worked with businesses from cleaning companies to, as we just said, building supply companies, event companies, solicitors. It's quite varied, in fairness. I've even done, and this is bonkers, it was a bit of fun, and I did it on the side, someone's birthday party. Not that I'm saying that's a stream of business, but it just shows that video can really fit anywhere. So it's very varied.
Yeah, good. And what's the sort of favourite job either you ever had, or the sort of favourite type of work you like to work on?
That's a good question. Okay, so we created a video for a company called Health and Safety Mentor. Sorry, Neil's actually a friend of mine. He's one of the directors, and he said, "Can we do this?" I'm like, "Okay." And because we had a good relationship anyway, which I do tend to build with people, as I mentioned before, we came up with a really fun idea of bringing a stuntman in for the day and having him fall off a roof. So that was a lot of fun to film. Yeah. And actually, the guy who was stuntman on that day is a guy called Ben Morgan, no relation. Ben's now my business partner.
Okay.
So he came into the business.
So you got on really well then?
Really well, yeah. And we both had a lot of similar interests. And it just made sense to merge so that we can grow. And that's another thing as well. Don't be afraid of growing and bringing people in, because you can't do everything on your own. And again, it took me a while to accept that, and I still try to do everything on my own. Ben will tell you that. But in order to do certain things, you might not be good at it. Like, I am useless at the business side of business. So paperwork, accounting, I'm useless. But Ben loves
most
that.
Most creatives are, it's just, exactly. It doesn't appeal to the creative, energy inside you,
It's just not fun. Left side, right.
It's a bit boring.
Exactly, but Ben loves it. He loves organisation, so he's making the business grow that way, which in ways I could never do. So it's really good. It's really good to not be afraid to expand your bubble.
Yeah, definitely. And I do a lot of joint ventures and collaborations and stuff myself with lots of people. And at the end of the day, if you don't try lots of things, how do you not know that the one or two things you didn't try was the one or two things you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
Absolutely. It's funny, isn't it? Because some people see that as a negative. What's the saying? Throw enough mud at the wall and eventually something will stick. And people see that as a negative. Well, actually, that is such a brave thing to do. It's so brave to say, you know what, that business I started, it didn't work out. But you know what? I ain't giving up. I'm going to try something else. That's such a brave thing. Whereas other people would try, fail, and quit.
Yeah.
Where people like us, we try, we fail, we go again.
Yeah. Well, it's the first attempt in learning, isn't it? Fail.
Absolutely. Nice.
So, yeah, it's I like that quote. And ultimately, I always say you only failed if you actually didn't learn the lesson from the first failure and you do the same mistake.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just learning, But okay, so we've covered sort of some of your work and your clients and that sort of thing. What's the sort of plans? What's the grand plans? What are you looking to achieve? What's the big dream? That sort of thing.
I mean, I think the first thing is world domination.
Yeah,
well, who doesn't want that? No, I think I want to grow. We want to grow, which is the thing I'm still getting used to saying, at a steady pace. So we've gone from me creating show reels, because that's how we started for actors, to me then becoming Melyn Media, to then me becoming Melyn Media Group Limited with Ben, and starting Melyn Social. So we've got Melyn Social, whereby, because one of the things which was a bit of annoyance, probably too strong of a word, but it was a little bit annoying, I guess. I'd create fantastic content for people. I'd give them exactly what they wanted. I'd know that video was spot on, but they wouldn't use it properly. So now we've got a business in Melyn Social that can help companies use that content effectively, and other content as well. So it just kind of brings us more of a media hub, media company. Yeah, I guess that's the grand theme.
Yeah, you just give me an idea for a podcast, actually. I got a couple of features on my podcast. One's called Mike's Likes and one's called Mike's Moans. And I struggle to find Mike's Moans because I'm not very negative. You know what I mean? I look at everything. No. I look at everything as the glass is full. It's never half full when I'm around.
It's all a lesson.
Yeah, and you just give me an idea, which was, what really annoys me is when people create content and then they post it somewhere once and then that's it.
Yeah, they don't hashtag it. They don't boost it. They just don't utilize that information. And sometimes they pay a lot for this because a lot goes into it, which is great for me. But I want to see people utilizing that because that's free marketing for me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. Well, you want them to market it, so your reputation grows and more people see it and that. And it's really annoying. Like you say, all our time and effort And then they post it somewhere on their website or on a page nobody goes to on their website, or they stick it onto YouTube with no keywords and nobody can find it.
Into the
and then just leave it, like,
Especially when it's one of those ones that you've like worked overnight to hit the deadline for them, and I'm happy to do it. But like, I've really put blood, sweat, and tears into it, and it's just gone on their Facebook page, and you're like, and it's like, what about everything else? I want people to come to me and say, "Oh, Melyn Media, you did so-and-so's video, or you do the Intrabiz videos." That's right. Well, not all of them, because there's a mix of people, and I love that they use different people. But I want that because I want people to know my work before they know who's done it.
Something which actually we should hook up on is obviously I do some joint videos and podcasts now. Started off just doing the podcast, but I found that I can utilize efficiency better by doing the video and the podcast at the same time and hitting two places. So I've got a YouTube channel as well. So pretty much, if you want to tag me in or let me know where I can find your videos, if they're on YouTube, especially. I don't know. Have you got your own YouTube channel where you showcase all of the work you've done?
Actually, right now, as we speak, Ben is working on something. So what we have done is we've taken all of our videos off everywhere. And the whole point, we were going to relaunch in March when we became Melyn Social and do this whole thing. But obviously that didn't happen. So we thought, you know what? Let's take this time to make it even better. So we're utilizing the time to create bigger and better things. So we've recorded an intro to all of our videos saying what the video's about. And Ben's going to now upload them all to our YouTube channel, and we're just going to promote the hell out of that, and really try to get that out there.
Yeah, great.
Because what that can do as well, it's not just good for us. It's good for us in the sense that it shows our videos and shows what we're capable of from a social point of view, but also it's good for our clients because we can get their videos out there. The bigger our reach, the bigger your reach, and vice versa.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got a YouTube channel, which I've got playlists in, and I put all of the videos I can find from all of my friends and my network associates and all my contacts. So, for example, your Intrabiz video that you shot, it's in my Intrabiz playlist, which is content of all the content that I could find on YouTube with Intrabiz in, and I've got a WelshBiz playlist as well. So I put them into whatever playlists I've got if they're relevant. So I've got a UK Biz one. I've got like a Networker 2018, which is all my networking stuff. Because I won Network of the Year in 2018. I use the hashtag Network 2018 for all my networking content, and it's just a way of finding everything I do to do with networking.
After this, link me to them because I wouldn't mind sort of seeing what you've done and how it's set up, and I'd like to see all that, dude. So the video that you put in for Intrabiz, was it the Lexus video or was it one of the other ones?
I've put in every video I can find, either in Intrabiz UK, Intrabiz Swansea, West Wales. Yeah,
I loved it. I walked in and I was like, I'm going to love this. Because, sometimes reflections aren't great because you can get a camera, but it was so reflective and so chrome and just really lovely. And then the lighting was gorgeous. I had field day. I was like shooting down the sides of cars. It was beautiful. I had such a good time filming that. It's just been really cool.
You've got a lot to play with, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got a lot of shapes and forms and lights.
Absolutely. The shot didn't make it to the edit, but it does work, but I think it's too filmic. I shot through the car, between the headrest and through the windscreen of people talking.
Oh, yeah.
It was you. I actually shot you talking, you networking with someone through the car. It looked really, really cool, but it was a bit too, it didn't sit with everything else. It was a bit too filmic.
Yeah.
But I'll share that with you at some point. It's a really cool shot.
Yeah, and I'd be interested in seeing that. And also, I take a lot of photos that way as well. When you take them through like a circle in a gap in a fence or something, and you're taking them because I used to live down the bay and Penarth Marina and different places down there, and there's so much material down there. It's similar to your Lexus shoot, if you like, lots of forms and shapes and icons and scenery and
it's beautiful.
It's like a film set, really, isn't it? Cardiff Bay, I think it's inspirational to me. I love it,
It's great down there, to be fair. I remember, this is going back now and totally irrelevant, but I remember a school trip we went on when they first opened the basin, and they were talking about the barrage and everything, and they had this big event on down there, and they had these little, I think it was either a school trip or a lot of us from school went, not important, but they had like these different workshops going on. There were music workshops and acting workshops, and it was so cool. And that was all to open the barge, and they had this big talk, and they were talking about what they were going to be building, and they were in the basin with the big torchwood statue. What's that called? A fountain, I guess. What's it called? Something, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's just a waterfall, isn't it? A water feature.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. No, it's great. It's funny, isn't it? When you said about that, it just brings back these memories.
Yeah. Well, that's what, creatives do, don't they? Like, you know what I mean? And, I'm a big fan of, things like architecture, sculptures, different lights and stuff like that. Not as in I go places to look for and stuff, but just when you're walking past or you're running or you're cycling that, I appreciate it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't just ignore it or put graffiti on it like some people do.
One of the things, again, I've sort of realised, I kind of always knew, but I've really realised that people don't spend enough time to look, they only see.
Yeah.
And I guess obviously what I mean by that is when they go somewhere really beautiful and really nice, and they're just seeing, they're not actually having a good look, they're not looking, they're not.
They're not appreciative they're not grateful and appreciative of life in order to appreciate what they're actually witnessing. There's so many people, in my opinion, who are from Wales who don't understand how amazing Wales is.
We're so lucky.
As a playground, as a film studio, as a cultural heritage, master place.
I would recommend to people, next time they're out and about doing something, whatever it is, you could be shopping in town after lockdown, you could be down the beach, you could be anywhere, in a car park, it doesn't matter. Stop for a second, take a nice big deep breath and look up. Just look up.
Yeah, I take random pictures, I do. I take random pictures because I just in awe. You live in Maesteg, don't you? Bridgend way. And I've been over that mountain. Yeah, you're from Maesteg. And I've been over that mountain, the bulk, at the back end. Yeah. And, sometimes you just got to stop and take a picture, because it's awesome.
It's funny because your background is obviously the earth there. And there's this whole, I think it's called the ore concept. Can't remember really what it's called, but astronauts get it. It's when they're in space and they look at the earth, they're in ore. But they also have this moment of collectiveness and oneness. They're looking at the earth. It's silent. It's sitting there. It's in the ether. It's just there. Yeah. And everybody, there's no borders. There's nothing. And it's a beautiful place because they just observe it and thinking, if everybody could see this, I think there'd be less problems in the world. And again, it comes down to just stopping and appreciating.
Yeah. And gratitude. I'm somebody who's got gratitude for how just amazing Wales is, the life is, the world is, opportunity is, knowledge, education, technology. It's all fantastic. We both make a living off technology. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
what we're doing right now is couldn't be done 10 years ago or whatever.
So I got a new phone. I got the Samsung S20 Ultra. You can fancy or whatever, but just for the camera because it's got an 8K camera. Now I know full well it wasn't going to be fantastic when I first bought it because like anything, they're going to be bug fixes and updates and stuff. But I used it on a job I went to the other day, and it was like proper sort of social distancing. So it was great. But I used the phone and I filmed a beautiful side panning shot of a truck. The footage was incredible. Right? I had to downgrade it to 4K to edit it because it was 8K. Yeah. But it just shows. My phone.
And that's the thing is that, when you go out filming planned, you're prepared and whatever. But life isn't always a plan and things happen. And sometimes if you just got your phone on you and you can do that opportunity shot or a video or whatever.
The natural light. It's funny because my phone is more powerful than my actual equipment. That is crazy. I think it's madness, isn't it? My phone has a better camera than my equipment.
Yeah, it's mad. And you'd have to probably invest a lot of money to buy equipment that was better than the phones these days.
To get an 8K phone, it's going to be expensive. You're talking sort of red territory. Yeah. And what was I looking at the other day? It's a pocket cinema camera. I can't remember who makes it now. Blackmagic design. They've got the normal sort of 2K one, but they've got the 4K one. I think they might have a 6 or 8K one as well. I can't remember, but it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any phone calls.
There we are. But I'm sure you've got lots to do, editing and looking after the kids and all the rest of it.
I have actually got a deadline for tonight.
And you've got that client call to make back as well, so I wouldn't want to stand in the way of that.
It's tried a couple of times and I've had an email.
So thanks a lot for coming on the podcast anyway. Just leave people with how they get in touch with you and how they get to find out a little bit more about you, and then we'll leave it there then.
Yeah, so you can email me on james@melynmedia.co.uk. We are in the process of having a brand new website built by Ben. He's handy, isn't he? Which is melynmedia.com. Yeah, and there's melynmedia.co.uk. I think that might still be there. And we've got melynsocial.com, sorry. But you can contact me, 0741921444643. Mike, I'm sure you'll put that in the thing for me.
I will now.
Just if you want to have a chat, if you want to have some free advice, just want to ring me for a natter, give me a call. Even if it's not even work related, I'm always happy to make new friends. No, but seriously, if you want some advice, I mean, even if you've been creating your own sort of selfie type videos, then pieces to camera for work, and you want to know how to light it properly or what best sound to use, anything like that, give me a buzz or drop me an email or hit me up on Facebook, whatever. I'm more than happy to help, guys. That's why I'm here.
Brilliant. All right then. Well, there's nothing else left for me to say now other than just to have a great day. I know I will. And thanks very much for listening. And cheers for coming on.